Howdy, it is I, Junk, sitting here drinking my bone broth. I'm not keto, I just like meat. And my man Trey Biz in the comments asked me to put out a video with my feelings on the whole drone rebalance. Shout out to Trey, howdy. Um, yeah. I saw Manny's video, and I've been reading about it, and we'll go through the post a little bit and talk through it. You know, in a nutshell, my feelings are... Listen, here's the short version. If you date a girl and all she's interested in is money, at some point in that relationship, you're choosing to be with a gold digger. Okay? I'm not saying Pixonic is gold diggers, but they ain't messing with no broke players. That's what I'm saying, okay? So, I'm not surprised by it. The short version of the effect it's going to have is it is going to hit people who've invested a lot in drones the hardest because they've done something they've never done before, putting a hard cap on the compensation in the conversion. And we'll look at that. But it essentially means that if you're not somebody who's maxed out all your drones, you should get back basically what you put into them. At a bad conversion rate, and it's not even clear what the conversion rate actually is. We'll talk about that too. But if you're somebody who's maxed all your drones and you've got a bunch of extra gold chips you're not using, there's a very high chance you are not going to see any return on that investment. It's just going to go away into the ether. And I don't know what effect that's going to have on players. Like I said, for me, I'm kind of no amount of greediness or anti-player action is going to shock me about Pixonic at this point. They aren't great people. But yeah, I mean, I saw Manny's video, and he makes the point that it's not a great idea to impose a progressive tax type rebalance when the viability of your game depends on having people willing to invest in it. So hitting the paying customers the hardest is an odd choice. It's a bold move, Cotton. That's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, let's talk about this first before we get any deeper into this. If you haven't done this yet, because I've already done it, but I'll show you. Go into your drones, go into your chips, and combine all your microchips to get them to the highest tier you can. There's a little autofill button. Let me use the magic keyboard here. There's a little autofill button. It doesn't take long. Just go through autofill. Now, you are going to be paying these combining fees, so if you have the money to do that. But because of the way the compensation structure works, as bad as it is, you want to be as upgraded as possible because you aren't getting the same ROI from the lower chips. So that said, let's look at the post here and just go through it fairly quickly. We'll skip the long story short, but there's a lot of Pixonic BS in here, and one of the recurring problems with Pixonic is it's clear the developers don't play the game, and the way they talk about the game, it's clear they don't play the game, or at least not enough of it to really understand it. And the only way I can describe it is if you've ever encountered somebody who's like insists they're a fan of a sport, but then they'll say something and it's like the words don't quite connect. Like, it's not that what they're saying is exactly wrong, but it's like that's not how somebody talks about this who actually watches it. That's every Pixonic post about the game. It's like they know some of what it's about, but they've never actually played it. Okay, so when drones first appeared in the game, one of the key features was the selection of drones just before robot deployment. This is true. You could also have more than 5 drones in the hangar. Yes. And I did use that. I do use that ability at times. You know, those top 2 drones I've got are not always pulled in, but sometimes you just need the Patron to counterplay the Angler. Or really the one that's always up there is Armadillo, because most of the time I'd rather have Nebula on the tank, but there are times where if I've got open field and I've got a fast enough robot, I would almost rather, like, take the Skyros out with the Armadillo, but not always, because sometimes you just need that. If you're dropping the Skyros to defend a beacon, you might rather have a Nebula. If you're dropping the Skyros to beacon run, then you'd rather have the Armadillo. So, and then you could cut and then talk about customizing the chips, right? It says, time has shown this feature was rarely used by players. Instead, drones started to be used with particular robots. I mean, yes, but here's the problem. Saying a feature was rarely used by players is not the same thing as saying the feature wasn't good or players didn't like it or players didn't use it. It's just a situational feature. And when you make drones, right, that are meant for responding to situations, you should see them deployed no more often than those situations arise. So the idea, I mean, it's like saying we're going to get rid of the fire department because not enough houses burned down. Well, not enough houses burned down maybe because the fire department's working, but also you don't measure the success of the fire department by how it's like, oh, the fire department is really successful. 60% of our houses are burning and they put them out. That's not success. That's not what success looks like. I understand that Pixonic is on this kick right now of we want to simplify the game because we think the game is too complicated. It's really not that complicated, and it's good that it has layers, and it's good that it has options. And they say they're about customization. And then, they're about customization, and you look at War Robots Frontiers, and it's just Gears of War, but dumber. Honestly. So this is all BS, essentially. And it says, this feature was used by too few of the players. Well, part of that is because, Pixonic, you gated the price of having multiple drones so high. In terms of actual cost of upgrading, it was more expensive to upgrade a drone. No, forget a drone. It was more expensive to upgrade to a Tier 4 gold chip, in a lot of cases, than to fully upgrade a pilot. Really. Really. As someone who's done a lot of both of those, as I'm sure you've noticed, I'm thinking back to when the on-freeze immune chips, there was like 2 weeks after they released the immune amps and then before they realized they'd goofed. When everybody needed the on-freeze immune chips. Okay, you know how much it cost to make an on-freeze immune chip? Because buying the purple level on-freeze immune chips was not the issue because they were like 2,500 or whatever. The issue was spending 200 gold to re-roll the store over and over and over again to get 5 purple on immune chips. So, with no pilot, discount. Sometimes they'll have the pilot days. With no pilot discount, I would spend maybe between 30 to 50,000 gold to fully upgrade a pilot. It really depends on how many abilities that robot has and what your options are. Easily to make each one of those on freeze immune chips cost me 30, 40,000 at least. So since if you're putting them in a beak, there's 2 of them, and you've got how many robots you're going to run this on? So yeah, I mean, it was immensely the most expensive thing to upgrade by far were those Tier 4 chips. But the argument in favor of doing it, and what they're eliminating with this change, is the argument in favor of doing it is once you had that Tier 4 chip, yeah, they might nerf it, or they might move it in or out of the meta for whatever reason. You might have a synergy with a different mod. But once you had it, it was in your hangar, and you could add it to whatever the next drone was. They released the Patron, great, you can just pull the chips off your other one. So the cost of upgrading a Patron was basically nothing. You got your new drone, and you pulled your chips into it. What a coincidence now that everyone's got those chips. They're changing the system so that there are no chips, and you have to upgrade the drones individually, which means you're paying every time a new one comes out. And oh, how you're paying, but let's talk about that in a minute. So better balance. Yeah. This is why they're probably going to get away with it, is because they created a drone system that was so broken that the opportunity to see them fixed is probably worth a lot of the agony for people. I think people are maybe over-fixated on the absorbers. I think the absorber shields are annoying, but you play around them and everyone has them. The worst thing about the absorber shields, really, for me, was not the way they affected the base gameplay. It was the way they affected the drone gameplay. Because it quickly became the case that any drone that didn't have an absorber shield was situational at best. and I think it basically killed any drone that didn't have an absorber shield, except for the whiteout you still saw. If on robots that really didn't need an absorber for one reason or another. Like, it didn't, if somebody was running the Skyros, it's really tough. It probably can just take the damage. If somebody's running the Scorpion and they teleport behind you and they've got the pilot that gives them the stealth, they weren't planning on being there for a fight long enough to have an absorber pop. So they could run the whiteout. But basically every other drone, like, you didn't see revivers anymore. If it didn't have the absorber, it didn't exist. Like, I remember I was running the Destrier in Champion League with the spear on it, and I was about to get a kill, and I hadn't gotten a kill yet with this Destrier. So I was really it wasn't with the spear. It was with the Decay. Well, no, wait, sorry, Decay or the Heavy, the Blight. Yeah, I was running the Blight. Sorry. Oof. It's late. And I was about to get a kill, and a Wasp drone took the kill. And my first thought was, well, that sucks. But my second thought was, who's running a Wasp in Champion League? When was the last time you saw a purely offensive drone in Champion League? Of course, you'd be crazy to do that. So anyway, that was what I found annoying. This paragraph is completely BS. Let me highlight this. This is the worst part of a bad post in some ways, because it insults your... I can't... Actually, no. Either it's insulting your intelligence, or they know so little about the game they don't realize this is just baloney. As they stand now, drones are completely unpredictable machines, making it difficult to think about tactics against them when in battle. Really? Really? First of all, I don't know what game you're playing, but tactics against a drone are not generally the top of my list. There aren't too many drones where that's an issue, and also, when you see the drone that you need to plan against, it's usually the drone's built-in ability. It's fairly rare that there's something you can put on a chip that requires you to rethink tactics. Like, going back to the on-freeze immune chips, right? One that was so broken they felt the need to intervene and change it right away. You weren't thinking any differently. Like, you didn't want to get shot by the guy before he had the 70% damage boost, and you didn't want to get shot by the guy after he had the 70% damage boost. There was no tactical consideration to that. I wasn't looking at the guy's big drone saying, gee, I wonder if he has on-freeze immune chips, or I wonder if he has, like, this is not the game. This is not like, you're not like, well, it's okay if he wants to shoot me, but he doesn't but, if it's the on-repair damage chips, then by all means, shoot me. No. The abilities that required you to think tactically were the ones built into the robot. You have to think, well, okay, the guy's got the Patron, so me chasing him down with the angler is probably not the move, because I'll just end up making him live longer by giving him stealth that he doesn't have right now. I'm better off just shooting from range if I can. So, I mean, that's what you would think. I can't think of a time where, like... Put in the comments if you think of one. I can't think of a single time where I looked at a drone and I thought, gee, I better think through what chips that guy might have, because it's going to completely change how I counterplay. Which is the kind of thing these people would know if they ever actually played the game. Obviously, adding the drones to the enemy's hangar is just an upside. Alright, now we're getting into the real gritties and the nitties, the part where things go, like, really, really terribly sideways. By the way, I shouldn't cut in here, I should have said it earlier. I do have gameplay to show you, but I forgot to record the scoreboard because I was so excited because of the end of the game. So there will be gameplay. The suffering comes with a reward at the end. Okay, now this part we'd seen before. They broke the drones up into tiers. Higher tier drones have more abilities. And here's where we get a little bit fuzzy on the math. So it's going to cost 1,000 microchips to upgrade a tier 4 drone. And let me back up. It says the cost of upgrading a drone depends on its tier. That's an interesting thing to say. Sorry, I was using my finger and I should be using the magic keyboard. The cost of upgrading a drone depends on its tier. Because when you say the cost of upgrading a drone, do you mean fully upgrading or do you mean one upgrade level? Because there's a forum post by Ot79. Shout out to 079 here for giving us some more details. It says, Tier 4 drone, 12 levels, 4 abilities, 1,000 microchips per upgrade, plus an upgrade token to max it. So wait a minute. If there's 12 levels and it's 1,000 microchips per upgrade, that means to fully upgrade a Tier 4 drone costs 12,000 chips. Okay. So maybe it costs 1,000 if that's the full upgrade. Maybe it costs 12,000 if that's one level. I'm assuming it's 12,000 because why wouldn't Pixonic make it harder and more expensive? Going back to the to this tier. So let's say for the sake of argument, it's going to take you 12,000 microchips to upgrade a Tier 4 drone. Here's the compensation for the chips you currently have. Okay, you get a tenth of a microchip for a Tier 1 chip, a gray chip. Blue gets you 2 microchips. Purple gets you 20. And a Tier 4 gold chip gets you 100 microchips. Okay. So, if here we are in War Robots, and let's just... Oh, it's not going to let me go directly. I'm going to have to restart to actually get in here. But you can see, you've got 4 gold chips in these drones. Okay. That means that there's 28 gold chips that we're looking at right now in the 7 drones, right? Which means that all of the gold chips we're looking at, each one of which... Well, that's not true, because some of them I got in the store, but each one of which cost hypothetically up to 50,000 gold to make. This whole hangar worth of gold chips is going to then be converted to 2,800 microchips, which will get you not quite 3 of 12 levels on one drone. That feels a bit low, doesn't it? Is it just me? But wait, there's more. There's more adventure here. The compensation will have an upper limit of 5,000 microchips. Well, I counted. I've got well over 50 gold chips. I mean, not a giant shock there. Everything I invested over the first 50 is just basically worthless. The only thing you get, once you hit the limit, you get a new Tier 4 drone, which looks terrible, by the way. And then for every 2,500 you get an upgrade token. Remembering, of course, it's going to take you an upgrade token to max your Tier 4, which you can't do anyway because of the compensation rate. So you're going to get a bunch of upgrade tokens, which you can eventually use to upgrade your Tier 4 drones if you eventually spend enough money to buy a bunch of microchips to upgrade them, which you are not going to get from your trading in. So there's no other way to put this than the way Manny put it. This is just stealing. This is just stealing with extra parts. Now, like I said, how do I feel about it? I mean, what did you expect from Pixonic? Were there people at this point, if you just downloaded the game last week and you bought some drones, I'm sorry, that's rough. For the rest of us who've been around for a while, what did you expect from this garbage company? I mean, I'm angry, but I'm not surprised. I don't even think angry is how I am. I'm like disgusted as I've been for some time. What is this? Here's the thing of it. I don't think it's going to result in people leaving the game en masse. I think it's going to people who are looking at other games, and there's a lot of people, right, are going to be doubling and tripling down on the efforts to look at other games. And me, I haven't, other than playing a bunch of Stardew Valley, because, why not? I haven't been, I certainly haven't been spending the way I had in the past. And a lot of that is because there's just nothing worth buying. But another part of it is like, don't spend money on this game you expect to get a benefit from tomorrow, because they're they're doing stuff like this. They're just, blowing it up. So what's actually going to happen? I have no reason to believe Pixonic cares what Manny says. I know he's only the biggest YouTuber in this space, really. I have no reason to believe Pixonic remotely cares. I have no reason to believe they're going to react in any way but to do whatever they want to do. And I assume Manny will be making Mech Arena videos is going to be the reaction. So, yeah. Sorry to end that on a bit of a downer. But I do have some gameplay, like I said, and the gameplay is at least exciting. So yeah, this is the drone thing. The only advice I can give you, the first thing is, if you haven't combined your chips as much as you can, combine them, because when you get to this exchange stuff here, you really want to have as many of the tier 4 and tier 3 drones as you can. So, oh, sorry, this is the this is the upgrading. You want to have as many of the tier 3 and tier 4 chips as you can. So upgrade your combine your chips if you have the goal to do it. If you have under 50 gold chips, then you're at least getting as as inadequate as the value is, you're getting the full value of what they're offering you. And if you have more than that, hey man, we dance with a gold digger. I don't know what to tell you. This is I think I've said this before. I think of it it's like playing golf on the weekend. The money you spend on the greens, you don't see that anymore either. So you should definitely never invest in this game if you think that it's ever going to have any meaning and they're not just going to try to rob you again tomorrow, because that's the relationship. So anyway, yeah, like I said, here's some gameplay. I know I shouldn't say I always, I frequently say this may be the closest game ever. Well, this is yet another one of maybe the closest game ever. I was so excited, I forgot to check the scoreboard. So I apologize for that. And, all right, let's get into it. Okay, and I'm recording this after the gameplay, by the way, in case that wasn't clear from the intro. And here we are dropping in on Rome. I've got my clanny evil genius with me. Not sure about evil. Pretty clear on the genius. I am not a genius, so I'm dropping in the Cerberus here. I don't know why I felt so compelled to put the Wasp and Hornet on this just to be matchy-matchy. I guess I kind of wanted to understand what this meta was about, because I wasn't playing for this meta. I definitely enjoyed the feel of taking that Mars out, though. That felt very, very satisfying. And today's been a weird day of games, because there's so many people running in clans and stuff to deal with the Valentine tasks. So, yeah, this angler cannot decide what he wants to do. Got him locked, shooting him in the back a little bit, but then his partner shows up. And right now, I'm feeling pretty good, because with some contesting, we've got a good, strong opening beacon position. We've got center and right, although obviously some contesting going on for some of the other beacons. Yeah, I had no desire to get any closer to any of the enemies right now. I was trying to exploit that 600-meter range, but that angler was not having it. Yeah, I was backing up because my thought here was, okay, he's going to run at me. If I can get far back enough that he phases in, maybe I can at least hit him with the blackout. And, I don't know if I muffed the blackout because of the camera angle or what, but he didn't seem too phased by it. Fair enough. And this is... I started getting salty because, as I said, I've got some toxic tendencies. When I drop in and I see there's a guy on home, I'm like, really? Really? We can't defend home. We're losing the only beacon we've got, really? So in my head, I'm thinking, I gotta get a beacon. I'm just gonna run for D. Just run for the city beacon. Try to sit on that. at least make them come to me, make them drop in here. I expected it to be contested more than it actually was, I think. And I think that's a sign of my teammates being very effective and putting good pressure on middle. Yeah, this was... Yeah, this was not the move, and EX is an absolutely awesome, like, skilled clan. So I don't know if that was just assuming the shell wasn't very strong, or, you know, like a brain fart moment. I don't know what that was, but standing there while I slowly rust the Seraph was probably not the move. Yeah, this actually I felt pretty good about too. I thought, you know, if I gotta get in here with the Seraph, or sorry, with the Aether, I like being in the shell for that. I can rust it up. I've got good self-healing because I've got Wonder Worker here, so I'm healing well, I'm doing good damage, and I rust him up with the weapons and then hit him with the blast, and I can actually do a fair amount of damage here. Now, I still got lucky that I got some teammate support coming in, because would I have won in a one-on-one? No, I definitely would not. But it wasn't a one-on-one, because this is a 6-on-6 game, so team support coming in huge. Yeah, at this point I'm just like, maybe I can squeeze a little bit more damage out. No, I can't. No, I can't. I'm a carpet. I'm on the ground. Now I'm getting frustrated right now in this game because I'm thinking I cannot believe we're gonna get rolled again by randoms. What is up with the game today? So, also I can't believe. Oh man, this was so annoying. What happens now? That Loki. We're about to have a dance with a Loki, and I'm very unhappy about it. Now, I'd like to go do, you know, Aether stuff. Fly up, hit people with a built-in weapon. What am I doing? I'm sitting here babysitting a Loki. And there's a moment coming up where a teammate comes in a luchador and just jumps off and goes and does something else. I'm like, you're seriously going to leave me here? Like, you know how much firepower the team is losing because I've got to sit here on this beacon? You know how much harder this game is right now because I've got to sit here and babysit this Loki? So, finally, Loki's gone, and of course there's another Loki. Of course there's another Loki. It would have been too easy. It would have been too easy. So, yes, here I am again with another Loki, sitting here thinking, like, I cannot believe I can't get somebody else. It's like, nobody has anything to deal with this guy. It's like, oh... thank goodness, a luchador. That's perfect. You can just stomp. And he's gone. Fantastic. Fortunately, the Loki is willing to deploy and just leave. And now I feel like, okay, this clock is kind of out of hand, which may be why he left, is that he just figured, okay, I'll go get Beacon D. But I'm looking at the beacon bar thinking, we're waiting for the clock to run out at this point. We got nothing here. And I'm getting roasted by... Yeah, something else. When that Loki jumped in the air, it forced me up in the air. I don't think I hit the ability to fly there. I think I got pushed up by the Loki and the game decided I was flying. I don't know. It was very weird. And here I'm doing what somebody should have done a long time ago and cooked up this Loki. Although it's going to be a little bit of a chase. So yeah, right now I feel like we're just playing for honor at this point. I don't even mean honor points. I mean like the pride of the clan, because I don't see how we turn this around at this point. I just don't see it. But as I say in the titles, you never give up, never surrender. Make them earn every single beacon, every single minute. Because you never know. Alright. A little bit of optimism creeping in. I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can get this Aether, but I can't because he knew I could, and therefore I can't. That's fair. You know, it's a close game. Get on the beacon, I get it. But now I'm looking at the scoreboard thinking, if they are meching a little bit, we can get them. I don't know, maybe. Like I was resigned to it when my Aether got blown up, and now I'm sort of like, okay, well this could work. Always love chasing down another. Anytime I can destroy another, because it's not even like it's a good robot. It's just an annoying robot. It's an antisocial robot choice. I'm not sure if the Scorpion is brave or just out of options, but I'm not interested in it. And so now, yeah, we almost, like, we briefly had a 5 cap, So now I'm thinking, I just got to stop this guy from capping, and then, holy smokes, we actually got a shot here. Now the downside is they've got 4 robots, and we've got to hold close to all the beacons, if not all the beacons. But feeling cautiously optimistic at this point. Like, could this happen? Could the dream come true? And I was gonna go chase down that angler to stop him from capping the city, but then I, saw A flipping, and holy smokes, we actually did it. that had to be. And I'm sorry, yeah, like I said, I didn't get the scoreboard, so let's pause it there, but that had to be one of the closest games I've ever seen. And I've seen some close ones, and I know, because I say that more than I think I should, but I have no idea how that happened. I'm not complaining. Like I said, I know how it happened. I mean, people mech'd because they were overextended, and Lokis are tough robots to win a game with. Oh boy, I know Ollie's gonna have something to say about that. But yeah, so that's a little bit of gameplay. Hopefully it's a little bit of excitement to explain why anybody would continue to play this game when they do things like this drone rebalance. If you made it to the end, thank you for making it to the end. If you're a dog or cat at home alone because your parents are out, you're a good puppy or kitty, I'm sure they're going to bring you a treat. And talk to you soon. Later.